What's up, War Report family? It's your boy C-Dub. Is Auburn football pivoting and actually looking for a QB in the transfer portal? We will discuss that as well as Auburn basketball in tonight's edition of the Mid-Week Rapport. Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Mid-Week Rapport, brought to you by a new sponsor, Opelika Rage Room. That is a place where anger and stress finds their ultimate release. Please call or text 334-777-6688 to set up a session or check them out at opelikaRageRoom.com. Special shouts out to them for being a brand new sponsor and supporter of the War Report. And we want to thank you guys for being supporters of the War Report, because you're doing things like sharing this video with those of you who are looking for great Auburn content now that we're in the off season for football, in season for basketball. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Ike is out here still watching film. Even though we're in the off season, he's still watching film. And if you want to watch film with him,
it's not rough, man. It's just the film. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is. How did they get a green name, Mike?
That's real easy. You just click that join button, man, and you can get on board with the green name gang. We appreciate everybody who continues to do this. It's been interesting going back through this film and seeing all of the things. And we got so much more film to watch, man. So y'all make sure you get locked in. We still got the second half of the Maryland game. If anybody wants to torture themselves with that, there is that left to watch, plus a lot more from the season. If you would like to gift a membership to somebody, you're already a member, you could do that right now from the live chat. They'll get a free month of membership on you. And then if you want to listen to audio formats of all the guys that are on the network, that's us at the Auburn Express. Uptempo Podcast is over there. College Loop is over there. And we got the Just a Sec Pod. You can do all of that. Yeah.
Gentlemen, now that we're in the off season, we now get to speculate about things like the transfer portal. Hugh Freeze, prior to this game a few weeks back, doubled down on his starting QB, Peyton Thorne, saying he's the guy and how risky it would be going into the transfer portal, potentially losing some guys you already have on the roster that he felt good about. A bowl game later, Hugh Freeze says,
fight
position is open. What happened was
maybe not.
I said that
about what I said before.
So that happened.
How my QB account is set up. I got a checking account and I got a savings account.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about that, y'all, because it came out, was it yesterday? Yesterday, that Liberty's QB, former QB now, Caden Salter, who many people got a chance to see in the bowl game when they squared off against Oregon, he is now in the portal. He was a former four-star QB, and I'll pull up some of his career stats, actually, so you guys can see what he has done throughout his career. He's played 3 seasons total, I believe.
Yes.
He is a former 4-star QB prospect who was out of Cedar Hill, Texas. He was in the 2021 class. He was the number 7 dual threat QB per 24/7. He committed to Tennessee's 2021 class. However, shortly after enrolling early at Tennessee, he was dismissed due to a couple of off the field incidents. He transferred later that year to Liberty, and last year we'll watch some of the stats, but he actually played under Hugh Freeze. He was one of the QBs who got injured that last year that Hugh Freeze was coaching. So Hugh Freeze has actually coached this kid, not just brought him to Liberty, but coached this kid. Here's some of the numbers here. Some of you may not be able to see that, but his height, 6'1", 200 pounds, a total of over 1,200 snaps he's taken in his career. He's thrown for just under 4,000 yards. He's rushed for over 1,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, a 59.8% completion percentage, has a PFF rating of 75.8. Thoughts about this guy, guys? Listen, we usually have not discussed portal QBs unless they're really serious. We don't know where this staff is in terms of if they're looking in the portal or not. All of this is speculative, but just to hear from you guys, Hugh Freeze is saying that everything is open. You would think that would mean that the portal is also open as well. But your thoughts on that? I'll ask you, B, about this as well as Caden Salt.
Now you get to go first.
Right. I was right. We take no joy in having a bad offensive performance. He's wearing our colors. Peyton Thorne was, but you look at that performance, and that is okay. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Even if he could be better with the talent we got coming in, what we saw, what his limitations are, I think they were clearly on display, and you got to do something better. Now, I did not watch Liberty play Oregon. I didn't watch Liberty at all this season. Even after they had a great season, they were undefeated at the end of the regular season. I'm looking at the stats. I see the low 60s completion percentage. I see the – could you put – what was the for the 2023 season, the stats up there?
No, we don't have. We ain't put that up there yet.
We ain't put that up yet.
Oh, okay.
That's his total. We put all his total career numbers.
Right. It seems better than serviceable. Better than serviceable. We know Liberty was undefeated, but I don't know how much of that was their defense. I don't know how much of that was their skill position players, because of course that stuff makes a difference. You can't just evaluate a QB in a vacuum. But I would take what I saw on paper of his stats and the completion percentage, the rushing yards, the ability to run and throw. I would take that. You could convince me of anything over what we just saw in this bowl game. So, what was yes. That's what I'm gonna say. Yes.
That's B's thoughts.
Salter.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, please. Mike G, your thoughts on what appears to be a change of direction for Auburn based on the bowl game and how we ended up here.
We've taken this coach at his word. Can we throw the stats back up there real quick?
Sure.
I have 2 points to make here. If 59.8% is who he actually is, because B reference, it's hard to judge straight from stats. Throw him back. Because if he's going to be that guy, you can't go through another year of limiting the volume of throws for 60%. That's Peyton Thorne all over again. He's going to hit 60% of his passes, and you're only going to let him pass it 18 to 20 times a game. You're not going to do any better with this cat. So that stat stands out to me, right? If that's truly who he is, but you have to factor in a lot of other things. I don't know if we had his adjusted on that graphic. No, there's no adjusted completion percentage.
I can find it for you, but keep talking.
Yeah. Like, it's if 59.8% is who he is. No thanks. I'd rather give me Hank Brown or Holden Gardner.
Adjusted completion percentage is at 69.3.
Yeah, look, as adjusted goes, that's not great. It's not great. So my second thing here is they made this. I think this is the last day that you can jump in the portal, right? Like midnight, it cuts off.
I think depending on when you play the bowl game, they give you
an extension beyond your bowl game appearance. I think it's like
5 days. 5
Okay,
days.
so possibly this extends to the 8th is what you guys are saying. But
he's already in the portal, so
no. For everybody who played, what was that, Monday? That was the 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's got 5 days until then. The 6th is the absolute last day.
So what if you played on the 30th? Because Auburn played on the 30th.
Then you got to the 5th.
You have the 5th, so you got 2 more days.
Oh, excuse me, no, the 4th. The 4th.
You got the 4th. It's
tomorrow. Okay, all right.
Unless you are a grad transfer, which you can hop in whenever.
Okay,
right.
All right. So, and I'm just going to be blunt. Like Holden Gardner has 1 more day
to make
a decision. Yeah, and you are reversing course not only on what you said about the QB position, but what you likely told these kids to get them to come back. Then you just burned a whole bowl season of them being able to go explore opportunities just to do this in literally the 11th hour and leave them with little options. Listen, man, that would be 7 shades of shit to do that to a kid. Now, I get it. You have to coach, but you probably committed something to these guys about what the plan would be for 2024. You know, he didn't come out and say this without telling Payton Thorne that you know, this is the direction we're going. Now, obviously, his play has a lot to do with it. Reportedly, he's supposed to be on campus. We'll see if that pans out. There is a really sad situation coming for somebody involved in this process if this kid comes to Auburn.
But I think we anticipated that after the bowl game, though, right?
Yeah, but my point is, for the people who got commitments before the bowl game, this will be a sudden change of direction with little time for you to make a decision in your own best interests. Somebody's getting the short end of the stick here.
I mean, if your intent is to hop in the portal before fall, before spring, yes, but I mean, you could still go into the second portal period. You can try to go through the competition.
If you want to battle through to, you know, if you want to battle for the position in the fall someplace else, missing a spring is that's significant for kids who, you know, that's significant.
For kids who haven't started, that's
significant. Yeah,
where you're transferring, but yes.
Yeah, you want to be able to go through spring with your new school. So, like, I don't see a scenario where anybody wouldn't want to go through spring with their new school and have to stay here all spring knowing that you're going to transfer now after this. That would suck.
Sure.
I see the rest of my time, Isaac.
Ike, your thoughts about this whole change of direction? Just real quick, like, it seems as though this bowl game gave this coach a different set of eyes at this QB room in this situation, and it seems as though he is going in a different. It appears as though he's going in a different direction.
What I will say is, I don't know that it gave the coach a different set of eyes. I think it gave people who were not willing to say, yeah, we'll put some money behind a change, a different set of eyes. And they was like, all right, you know what? Cool. Go get somebody else, because this ain't it, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you tried to tell us maybe we needed to go somewhere else, and you said, when we asked you, could you make it work with this? And you're like, I can make it work. It's going to limit me, but I can make it work. And then they saw it in the bowl game, and they were like, oh, so yeah, this is never going to get better. Like, with weeks to prepare, with no Robbie Ashford controversy looming in the background, this isn't going to get better. Okay. All right. We'll take the handcuffs off. Go do what you need to do. I think that's more what happened than anything else, because listen, you've seen this story for what, 13 weeks of football?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The wide receivers have been who they were this entire season. The offensive line has been who they were this entire season. I just think it finally the biggest thing I think that happened was Hank Brown coming in and playing well.
Yes.
The problem you have is, before, the whole conversation was, if you go and get a portal QB, you likely lose 2. And that means it, and everybody's thought process is that's Payton and Holden. And it's like, well, I really kind of like Holden. I don't want to see him go. But then you see Hank Brown play, and you're like, well, maybe I'm not so upset if Holden leaves, if Hank Brown is going to be good. And so I feel like I have another safety net that exists there. Or if PT leaves and Holden decides to stay, we got 2 guys still, right? So I think it gave a little bit more room for people to say, okay, maybe we can go in a different direction. But yeah, listen, Payton Thorne, I said this before the Birmingham Bowl 2 years ago, when TJ Finley was the starting quarterback going in here. That game was your opportunity to submit yourself for the next season.
Facts. Yeah, as a starter, yeah, 100%. You play a good game. We're not even talking about it.
And I think what I would say this too, just to put a button on this and get to the next part, because we got another graphic to show. And I mentioned this in the post game, is that we were the fan base were sold the idea that, hey, if we put better players around Peyton Thorne, then we can evaluate him in a way to see if he's the guy. To your point, Ike, when Hank Brown came in and we start seeing receivers who were basically invisible throughout that entire game come alive in just 2 drives, it blew that whole theory apart.
Yeah.
You can't sell us that you need more athletes when you see a guy come in and use the athletes you have.
And let me just quickly debunk it was garbage time and they were playing against second and third string thing, right? That only matters if it was the separation that changed it, right? Now, you could say, oh, he wasn't under as much pressure. I'll concede that, but he's a freshman. As he grows, he's going to get better at being able to recognize pressure, all this. So but what people kept telling me is our receivers can't catch the football. They can't go make plays. I saw nobody drop a football that was thrown in their direction when Hank Brown came in. So apparently they know how to catch. I saw guys make plays where they were turning around, catching the ball behind them, making one-handed catches on the sideline. So they were able to go make plays for the quarterback. I also saw him hit a deep shot, the same one that Peyton Thorne missed earlier in the game. And if they were in prevent defense, like people keep trying to say, then why was it one-on-one with a deep shot of a post? That doesn't happen in prevent defense. It's not the same thing. So that's not real. Let's just call it what it was. He played better. Yep. Yes, they weren't rushing him and they weren't blitzing, but the throws were on time, they were accurate, and they had anticipation. You can't do that unless you know what you're doing. You don't just happen into throwing accurately. It's not real. So
that consistently.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that he is going to be the heir apparent. I'm saying
he
it
blew up
the
Freeze's. Yes.
Right. It debunks all of the ideas
Absolutely.
that none of these other people can play football around the quarterback.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's the facts.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the comparison, because again, all eyes are on. We've been talking about all eyes are on Caden Salter, and if he visits, what's going to happen? Let's look at some of his stats versus Auburn over the past 3 years. You guys ready? Here we go. So you may be, depending on what device you're using, you may be struggling to see this, but he didn't play a whole lot, obviously, in 2021. But in 2022, he actually played, as I mentioned earlier, he played 8 games under Freeze. 58% completion percentage. He actually threw for a little bit over 1,000 yards, rushed for 380, threw 8 TDs, 5 interceptions. In 2023, he got the main start there. 60%, almost 61% completion percentage, 2,869 yards, rushed for over 1,000 yards himself. Because of the type of scheme they ran, Liberty actually had 2,000-yard rushers last year. Threw for 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. We see what Auburn has looked like over the past 3 years as well. What do you make of this when you look at this stat line? I'm going to start with you, B. Will, again.
I'm looking at these numbers, and I think his 2023 season looks better than our 2023 season collectively. Of course, the passing yards were just so anemic for us this season. It was harmful to my health to watch us try to pass the ball this season. I lost probably a couple of years off my life. I don't know if I'm gonna get them back or not. I'm gonna have to give up meat by like 45 to get them years back. Then I look at the rushing yards. Like we know PT had a couple of really good rushing games, but we didn't expect him to. We know that Robbie, when he was in there, he was allowed to rush, and that's pretty much it. But 1,000 yards from a quarterback anytime is amazing. 1,000 yards from a quarterback is amazing. I wish I had off the top of my head how many yards Nick Marshall had in 2013. It was over 1,000. Cam Newton, he was over 1,000 or just under. I can't remember which one. I think he was like 1,200.
Cam
Over.
Newton was 1,400 yards rushing.
Oh, there you go.
He led the SEC that year.
There is no way you can downplay just the threat of being able to run for over 1,000 yards means that you're going to have some things wide open for you in the passing game, which is how he was able to pass for 2,800 yards. We sat here and talked about, well, if we get 2,700 yards from Peyton Thorne, that'll be the best of it. Yeah, we did. We got like 1,700 from Peyton Thorne, and everybody else contributed a few too. 2,800 plus? No, that's a remarkable year in terms of offense for Auburn. I like the upgrade because there is a little bit of familiarity there, being that Hugh Freeze recruited him, played some offense with him, and now this man has been playing and winning. Yes, at Liberty. Yes, against Liberty competition. That's better than what we've had here. We haven't had a player at quarterback in the last couple of years that really knew how to capture the moment. Even Bo, when he was here, he wasn't as developed as the Bo we saw at Oregon. He learned how to play better, and he learned how to win better. We haven't had winning quarterback play here. 2017? I don't think that's an exaggeration. Winning quarterback play where something you expected something good to happen, and it happened. I think this is an upgrade from that alone. The rushing ability, the ability to pass 61% is not great. That's roughly what Peyton Thorne threw for as well. So I don't think there's a downgrade, especially when we have some wide receivers coming in this year. I don't want to risk playing a quarterback who can't play well and alienating the wide receiver talent that we have. I'm seeing Cam Coleman and all this all-star game footage, and he's saying War Eagle. I'm like, man, we can't let this man down. He is repping us. He is outstanding. He is an all-world wide receiver. Can you imagine getting underthrown, overthrown, getting led out in front of a DB and getting your ribs lit up because your quarterback sucks? And I could have went anywhere? Don't play with these people. Don't play with Perry Thompson. Don't play with Cam Coleman. And if Ryan Williams, don't play with him either. Put somebody back there that knows what they're doing. You recruited them. You trained them and developed them somewhat in that first season in 2022. He continued to grow as a passer and a player because his stats got better. Get him down here. He's ahead of the curve already. Put this man in the game, and let's see what we got. I'm all for letting Hank or Holden, whoever wins it in spring. Let's say that. Let everybody compete in the spring, no matter who it is. But you don't neglect to bring this guy in. You don't neglect to bring Salter in as a clearly experienced football player because you're afraid of upsetting the room. The room is done. The room is done. Let the players tell it. The chemistry on the team wasn't good anyway. Let's shake some stuff up. Let's get some better quarterback play in here, and adding Salter can't do anything but help.
When you look at the stat, just from stats alone, I know we're just looking at numbers. Salter has never played in the SEC, even though his first school was a SEC school. He never played in the SEC. He's bringing us some experience. Does this, at the very least, raise the floor if he comes in at Auburn?
Not really. That's
No.
what I
No.
don't know how much it actually raises the floor. And that's why,
Yep.
I mean, again, I think that this kid is super talented. Let me start this by saying I think that Salter is super talented. But nothing about these stats raises the floor of anything unless he is more competent in his, like, and I haven't watched enough of his film. Just looking at stats, I ain't like, oh man, we gotta have this kid. He's gonna do wonders. I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe he's good, maybe he's not, but it ain't. And I really, 2023 is really the only relevant year in this. He barely had any snaps in these other seasons. In that 1 year of work, that ain't earth moving at Liberty. 32-6 in touchdown to interception ratio, that's good. The rushing yards, definitely good. But, I mean, come on, bro. Like, I just don't think that this raises anything. I would rather they just develop the guys that are in the room. I'd rather just see Holden and Hank get a shot at competing legitimately with Peyton Thorne during the offseason and the best man win. Actually develop a quarterback is what I want to see.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on this. Look, this doesn't move the needle enough for Auburn. I think,
and sorry to cut you off, because if you bring him in, aren't you guaranteeing him the spot? Like is anybody else going to get a real chance to compete if you bring in Salter?
I hope maybe they should stop guaranteeing anybody anything. That's what
I don't know. Anyway, Mike, continue your point. My bad, dude.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it moves the needle. 291 pass attempts is not anywhere near where Hugh Freeze wants to be in terms of throwing the ball. And I'm reiterating, if he's going to throw the ball at a 60% clip, just go with who you have. You can get 60% out of any of the quarterbacks in your room right now. And Peyton Thorne can at least run the ball at a serviceable rate. So, I don't. To Caesar's point, I don't know how much of this translates to the SEC, because these numbers are already kind of average. So what happens, when it's Georgia and Alabama and Oklahoma and Kentucky and all the other teams that Auburn's going to have on the schedule? I'm not sure how much of this translates. Just go. You screwed the pooch on this one already. Just go with who you got. And let's be clear. The only reason we're talking about this is because this is probably all Auburn can afford in the portal right now. This is bargain bin shopping QB portal 101. That's exactly what this is. So you know what it's going to cost you to go out and get a top-tier portal QB, and it's got to be somebody worth upsetting the balance of your QB room right now. If you're going to break a promise to a kid that you made just 2 weeks ago, that dude better be damn good. I'm not sure, and this is reiterating what Ike said. It's not to say that Salter isn't talented, but this is a big gamble that this kid still has a jump to make that is worth upsetting the balance of your QB room right now. He's got to be a 1 year fix, unless he's gonna be in contention for the Heisman or win you the SEC. He's got to be a 1 year fix.
Yeah,
so you can.
He's not, but those QBs aren't in the portal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or unless you expect him to make that sort of jump, I don't see a reason to do this. These numbers are just not that compelling coming from Liberty. They're not. And you have to really think little of the guys that you have here. I asked Hugh Freeze in the post game, what does it say for Hank Brown? Well, it's wide open. Okay, but what does it say for Hank Brown? Because Auburn people were convinced that a QB competition happened this past fall. In hindsight, there wasn't much of a competition. You named a starter before the end of fall camp. Now you're going to bring this dude in.
And you gave a bad reason. And you gave in retrospect, a pretty crappy reason.
Down. Yeah. And then you're going to bring this dude in the 11th hour and expect, and how are these guys, how do you expect to have a true QB competition where the people in the competition feel like it's an actual competition? Just crap on, you guys know how I feel about playing inexperienced guys, right? And using inexperience as the reason that you don't play them. Everybody's inexperienced until you get the experience. So if the other guy has to go out there and crap the bed before you'll go to an inexperienced guy, you're not much of a QB evaluator. If the crap has to hit rock bottom before you'll make the change, how good of a QB evaluator are you actually? And that's in large part what you were brought here to do. So I would rather, I've said my piece about what I feel like the ceiling for next season is. I think you can get there with the guys that you have in the room right now. You don't need to bring another dude in and upset the guys who have been busting tail every week for you to make this move. Just give them a shot.
I disagree with a lot of that, but let's keep it moving.
I agree. Like I agree that I don't know that it makes a whole bunch of sense.
It doesn't make any sense
unless the guy is heads and tails better. Like, it's got to be obvious, and I just don't. Again, just from the stats, I haven't watched him play. Just from statistics, what about those statistics are blowing you away?
Well, for one, Mike, you got into volume of passes in Hugh Freeze's offense. He likes to throw somewhere around 400 passes a season, between 400 and 450, right? So for the 290 that he attempted this season, that Salter attempted this season, he has just under 2,900 yards passing, which means he's averaging close to 10 yards per attempt, which is excellent because we are closer to 10 yards per completion.
At Liberty.
Sure. Football's football. Football is
Liberty.
football.
Sure. SEC football is SEC football. Come on, don't do that, Brian.
Oh man. It's just
don't do that, Brian. You know that shit don't translate to the SEC.
I got it. Don't starting to cuss.
Yes.
So here's
to the SEC.
We can go player after player after player who have come from one league and come. What's Jay McLeod was our best pass rusher, and he came from Group of 5. He's not the biggest pass rusher. He's definitely not the most athletic as far as measurables, but he was our best defensive lineman. No, Marcus Harris, our best defensive lineman. And he came from one of the worst Power 5 defensive leagues in the country and was a 2-star recruit. You don't know what guys can do until you put them in the spotlight. That's the point.
I will say this: he ran a different offense to what Hugh Freeze would normally run. That was a really run-heavy offense he ran.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but didn't Hugh Freeze have this dude on the bench?
He actually was playing. He got hurt.
He played. He got hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So my point last year is this past year. Now that Hugh Freeze is at Auburn, his head coach, now that he's got a lot of burn, he was running a very run-oriented offense, which I'm not sure the direction of Auburn's offense is heavily run-oriented. So I'll be curious to see how I will be interested in that completion percentage that Mike G did bring up, because passing, under my assumption, under Hugh Freeze is a big part of Auburn's attack moving forward.
Correct. And the adjusted, I'm telling you, not being north of 70 is concerning. When you look at the average adjusted for, QBs who throw for around that yardage, they're usually mid-70s to high 70s.
Yeah. Last year, his adjusted completion percentage was 70.7%. So just
north of 70. That's not very good. So again, you set this situation up if you're Hugh Freeze. You set this situation up, and this feels like just digging the hole deeper, hoping to hit gold. I, in my opinion, stop digging, go with who you have. And we know the feeling internally is that, they don't feel like they have the people to be able to do the things they're going to want to do until 2025 anyway. Go with the guys you have.
Yeah, and I think if it's a fair and open quarterback competition, from what I have heard about what's happened in practice, Peyton Thorne doesn't win that anyway. So, everybody thinking that this is about Peyton Thorne and we wanting to see Peyton Thorne another year, I don't think he wins an open competition against those other 3 guys that are going to be in that room if it's truly open. I just don't.
So again, really and truly, to put a bow on this, guys, because we got to get to the break, this is really about Hugh Freeze.
Correct.
And about how he intends to run this program moving forward.
This is exactly where I was going. After the dynamic that he set up with Peyton Thorne and the QB competition, I'm not sure this is the right move to make now. This feels like reaching and desperation. It feels like desperation.
Now, I don't disagree with that.
We're in a desperate circumstance.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't.
To be fair.
No, I don't think that it's desperate, but it doesn't get desperate until 2025.
I disagree. You win 6 or 7.
That's too late.
No. See, what you're talking about is real as far as when you expect to be really competitive. You can't blow seasons and wins and stack up losses while you're waiting to get competitive. That's not acceptable.
But this kid doesn't move the needle towards what you're trying to do.
You don't know that.
Yes.
You just think because he's coming from Liberty that he can't do that. You do not know that. You do not. Unless you got a crystal ball.
Nothing that happened last year makes me trust that this staff is going to evaluate the right guy to come in and do that. Go with who you have, right? Because I'm factoring in the guys you already have in the room. Hank Brown created he is the FSU of this for Hugh Freeze. Right? What did the committee want? They wanted FSU to lose so they wouldn't have a decision to make. Hank Brown came in and his version of win every game, he showed out the guy that you sold out for. And now you're like, crap. Do I got to put him in the playoff?
Okay.
Or do I
see
leave him
kinda
outside
I
of it?
kind of see how you brought that around.
Right, yeah.
All
He
right,
took
okay,
the easy
all right.
decision away. Like, FSU
I don't know.
took
I
the
don't really
easy
get it.
decision away from the committee.
I saw what he
It's
tried
a
to
little
do.
bit of a stretch. I
I saw
Yeah,
I
the
see where he
FSU
tried to
there.
go.
Come on,
I-
yeah. They're the FSU there. Like,
but I'm
they
also
took the
trying to
easy
get us to the
decision
break
away.
too. So
Yeah,
you know.
so
yeah, I see
that's
what
what
you're
I'm
saying.
saying.
I ain't gonna
Like,
argue with you. Then he keep explaining. Come on, guys. All right.
My bad, C. My bad.
Dang it, B. All right.
Perfect sense, damn it. Free T-shirt to anybody who agrees with me in the comments right now.
No, see it. 10 minutes later. All right. All right, guys.
That's
Good
hilarious,
convo. Again, I'm pretty sure. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do we need to get this kid, or does Auburn go with who we got? Definitely want to hear from you guys. Share this video. Pretty spirited conversation. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's pay some bills and come back and talk. Your comments, and then Auburn basketball.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. The Opelika Rage Room in Opelika, Alabama. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Call or text 334-777-6688 to set up a session today, or check them out online at opelikaRageRoom.com. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
Thank you to all the sponsors of the War Report. Thank you to those of you who have become members of the War Report. You guys are awesome, and you do amazing things to help us continue to do the content that you are here to love and support, and you guys make y'all are the engine of this real thing, for real, man. We appreciate the members. I have a lot of film to break down with you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Membership gifting is a thing. If you are currently a member and you want to gift someone a month on you could do that right now from the live chat, and they can get a free month of War Report membership. We appreciate everybody who continues to do gifted memberships. Check us out on the network. We are the War Report Podcast Network. You have to look up the pods separately, though. So the Auburn Express, Uptempo Podcast, the College Loop, and Just a Sec pods are all a part of the network, and you guys can get in and represent in audio format in that way as well. We appreciate it.
Let's grab some of your comments, guys. So y'all have been commenting, and we appreciate y'all doing that with us. B. Will's Forehead says, if Thorne does win a seemingly wide open QB competition, his leash should be essentially non-existent. And for the record, by the way, in case you were wondering, Buck Fama.
Hey, man, it was a great weekend of games. It was a great New Year's Day of games, man.
It was
I really
a great
enjoyed
Monday.
that.
It was not a great weekend of
I was about to say,
games.
not
Oh yeah, you know, I erased that from my memory.
It was a
But
great
yeah, man,
Monday.
Monday was fantastic, man. We saw some excellent quarterback play in the second game, and then we saw the first game, some excellent losing by Bama. They did a really good job of losing, some excellent snapping by the center. It was a phenomenal day. I had fun in my text messages. It was great. Great.
I have a theory. I think Bama fans death threaded that boy into the transfer portal. But,
They did, and that's
I have
a
no
damn shame.
proof. I have
That's
no
a
proof
damn
of that.
shame.
But I just,
I mean, it would hold definitely true to form. So
yeah. B. Will's Forehead says Grant Lloyd is greater than Peyton Thorne.
What say you,
we're not
Ike?
going that far.
Nope.
We're not going that far.
All right.
I mean,
Nah, fam. Stop. No. Listen. No.
I'm saying.
Well, yeah, somebody said Jeremy Johnson the other day. Y'all bugging, bro. What are we doing?
Hey,
No.
Grant Lloyd was tall though.
Man, get out of here, bro.
I'm
Grant
just saying.
Lloyd
Stop.
was tall.
Stop.
That's true.
Stop.
Though.
No, we're not entertaining this conversation. Keep that moving.
Grant Lloyd, your boy.
War Eagle says, baby goat. Downtown Hank was very quick with his reads and throws an accurate ball that is easy to catch. He has hella upside.
Okay, so hear me out, because there was another comment here that talked about how Hank Brown was throwing guys open.
Mm-hmm.
All year, we've been saying these receivers aren't as bad as everybody's painting them out to be. And it took 12 games and a bowl game for people to and Hank Brown, for people to start seeing the point that was being made all season long. If you are a receiver, you practice expecting the ball in a certain position. When you are consistently adjusting to catch balls that are poorly placed, it throws off your timing. it makes the game exponentially harder. So what fans see is they see the ball get to the receiver in any kind of way, just near him. The receiver, it technically hits him, but he fails to make the catch, and then everyone screams, the receivers can't catch. But suddenly, all those guys who couldn't catch a cold according, you know what, we brought it up earlier. Ike was talking about the coverages. That throw, Ike, stop me when I say something wrong. That throw to Caleb Burton was the exact same route Peyton Thorne had earlier in the game.
Exactly.
Against the exact same defense.
Similar defense, but I mean, it was a one-on-one post route. Yes.
The coverage was the same. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And he threw the ball too far and to the inside. Hank Brown stepped up. Neither was under pressure.
Nope.
Neither was under pressure. So that takes away the whole who cares who was against. The guy was covered. Caleb Burton had a step, and he made the play.
And if we're being honest, Caleb Burton actually was more open on Peyton Thorne's throw.
You showed me that, Ike. I think you showed me that before the weekend.
I have them side by side where I've got the videos where they're in sync.
Yeah.
And Caleb Burton has like a 1.5 yard step on his DB when Peyton Thorne makes the throw. He has like a 0.5 yard step on the one from Hank Brown.
Yeah, this is not me saying Hank Brown is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm saying that is the type of throw you expect a third-year starter to make. More times than not. When Peyton Thorne's position with 3 years to start at this level, you expect him to make that throw 9 times out of 10. I don't know how else to say it. Did you see the catch that Jay Fair made over the middle from Hank? Where he was playing with,
and he went to work. He went to work after he caught it.
Like, this is why we were following Jay Fair before the season. Because we knew he could do that. And then when you throw him an accurate ball, he catches it over the middle, jukes a guy, and gets like 15 yards upfield. And people were like, where was that the whole game? Where was that the whole season? On the bench, apparently, with Hank Brown.
Yeah. I've seen it. I see it more in the NFL than I do in college, because in college, very rarely do we see guys get benched outright. Coaches like experience are going to go with the guy who has the most experience. But, man, you can tell when a guy comes in and the rest of the team is like, yes, finally. Body language, how they catch the ball, how much they attack the ball, and also how hard they run after they get the ball.
Yeah,
what they do after they miss.
They looked fed up to me. Yes.
And if we can see that, then that means it's been simmering in the locker room for a lot longer than it's been visible to us.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Stephen Neely says, isn't Coach Hugh Freeze a self-proclaimed QB whisperer? What better way to prove it than by developing a guy already on campus? Just saying.
I will say this. The one thing that he did say, amongst the many things he said in that post game that I didn't like, was that he's open to the idea that his evaluation of the situation could be wrong, and committed to take another look at it, a serious, hard look at it. That's the most you can ask for right now in that situation, is getting him to say that part out loud, and then showing that can happen this spring.
Yeah, agreed. You got to be able to self-correct, and he seems willing to do that. But what's wild to me is that we didn't see anything in this game that we hadn't seen this season. Nothing. Throwing at guys late, throwing it to the wrong side of their body, not throwing to them in stride so they could keep running, not feeling the pressure, pick sixes. Like, if you rolled for this man after 12 games of that up and down, and then it was like, all right, he's our guy, because I'm telling you, and it only took one game to undo it, you was wrong before the ball game. Like, what?
But that's what I don't think that I think he realized what situation he was in which is why, man, listen, bro. I don't want this to turn into a crap on Peyton Thorne session, because it's not that. But Coach Hugh Freeze has been saying Peyton Thorne isn't the guy for a very long time, and people have just been hearing it differently. Let me recount to you things Coach Hugh Freeze said, not things Ike Jones said about Peyton Thorne, what Coach Hugh Freeze himself said.
Okay.
He said in the preseason, Peyton Thorne has been pressing. And so in order to take that pressure off of him, we're going to stop the competition and give him the job. That tells you he hadn't been practicing very well, at least not up to the expectation of what I thought it was going to be when he got in here. Stop me. Again, I'm going to use Mike's. Stop me when I say something that's a lie. All right.
No, that's true. It's facts.
In the midst of the season, they were doing a QB swap situation, right? And they basically said, we're running two different offenses. One offense for one guy, one offense for the other guy. Right after the Ole Miss game, they were like, you know what? We need to go and just make a decision on one guy or the other guy. And he said, I told Peyton, if you go out there and screw this up, you're done after this. Did anybody else hear him say that? He did tell him, you've been effing up. This is your last chance. I done gave you all the chances in the preseason, and this is it. You go out here.
I think he said it's time to put up or shut up.
Yes. Okay.
I believe that was verbatim what he said.
So he acknowledged in that statement, you have not given me what I thought you were going to give me before now. All right, let's move forward. He goes on to say, after the season is over with and everything doesn't transpire, he says, we've got to elevate the level of the stuff that's around him. In other words, the guy who we have can't take the level of what we have and elevate it any. We need to build up all the stuff around him to make him more comfortable. That's not a guy that you're saying is this amazing quarterback. You're saying, I just got to make do with what I have. So since I can't fix him, let me try to fix all the rest of this stuff.
Right.
He's been telling you, I think he's okay and he can win football games, but he ain't all that. Coach Hughes Freeze has been saying this for months.
But the head scratcher in all of this is, why don't you just move on?
Now, that is a whole separate conversation. And I don't know that I have all of the answers on why.
My bad.
But that's definitely a separate conversation.
Okay.
Because somebody paid a bunch of money for him to get here.
That's one theory.
Like, that is definitely a factor in this, right? It may not be the whole reason, but it is definitely a factor. And why he won the job to begin with before the end of fall camp.
and listen, there might be a lot of reasons why. And we go through this all the time. Is the guy behind him actually even better? I don't know the answer to that. Now, what we saw from Hank Brown makes me say, oh no, maybe.
Hey.
But were they even ready to give Hank Brown a chance in his true freshman season to even try to step in there? Maybe what they saw from Robbie and Holden in practice wasn't enough of a difference to say, all right, let's pivot in this direction away from. I don't know. It could be a litany of reasons. I don't have all the answers to that. What I do know is what he said. Now, again, I didn't read into things that he said. I just told you what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You can draw a different conclusion if you want to from that. You're welcome to.
Yeah. That's fair. All right. Let us grab some more of your comments because they're flowing in here. James Barnett, good to have you here, man. Says, fellas, are we taking into account the difference of talent Salter would have if he came to AU? Would his numbers rise with better all-around talent?
It depends on who you ask, because according to some people who watch Auburn football, there's no talent around Payton Thorne now. We know that's not true. But
I'll say that you can't. Statistics alone aren't going to answer this question. I would have to actually go watch film and say, is he having an issue with reads? Is it just accuracy? Are there a lot of throwaway? I don't know the answer to this from stats.
Everything rises though. So while the talent was going to rise around him, so was the competition. And there's so many different things here in this statement. So the answer is simply just maybe.
Yeah.
There's no way to know that for sure.
Sure. Jack Watson, welcome, good sir. Jazzy, good to have you here with us, man.
Jazzy.
Hey.
He says it won't be open, so get Salter. Otherwise, it's Thorne. Who would y'all rather have? I'd rather have an open competition.
I mean, listen.
Is he asking, would you rather have Thorne or Salter? I think.
Yes.
No, that's what he's
not
asking. That's what he's asking, but I'm being evasive. I'd rather have an open competition.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to avoid this question. Would I rather have Thorne or Salter? I'm going to be honest with you. No, you know what? I can't answer because I haven't watched it. I can't. I hadn't watched his tape. I was about to say I'm be honest with you and answer, but I can't. I ain't watched his tape. I don't know.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna answer the question.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm
can't answer the question.
I'm going to answer the question.
Yeah.
The question is, I would rather have Thorne because if he doesn't work out, they're more likely to pivot away from him than they are from the dude that you brought in here.
That's what I was going to say. Is
That's
that
actually
I
a good
think
point, Mike.
that if Thorne were to mess it up this time, you likely. But again,
you move on pretty fast.
Well, who you
yeah,
move
but
on
like
to?
I don't know. Like I said, I need to watch the because like if Salter really is that good, then I don't care. Like I just go get him and put him in here. So
Yeah. Well, if he's that good, but because we're questioning it right now, that means that he's probably not. So
well, again, the only
No,
reason I'm
this just
questioning
means
is I
we
ain't
haven't watched
him.
them. See, why is it since we don't know, it's a no? You so negative, man. You so negative. Get your negativity
Nope.
down, man. Get
Nope.
your positivity up.
okay,
Why do you
Dr.
have to
Seuss.
point with it though?
No.
Drives the point home, man.
No.
I felt some judgment behind that. You know what? You
Felt
negative.
Stick with Thorne.
Very unlikely says stick with Thorne,
Yeah, see?
then buy 2 horses for Cam and Perry to ride out of town.
Okay.
Mike
That
agreed
took a
before he
turn.
read it.
That took a turn.
Oh man.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Fans want Thorne to be the guy so bad, like Honey Boo Boo's mom wanted her to be Miss America. He isn't it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what I
Perry
think
out
fans
here
want.
snapping.
I think fans
Oh,
want the QB to win. And
100%. Yeah.
when your coach says this is the dude I'm riding with, you're faced with 2 options: be sad for the rest of the season, or just hope that dude that he picked can win. Now that the season and the beautiful thing about the bowl game is that finally everybody's patience will run out for a subpar product at bowl game, and you could turn the corner and say we have a whole season's worth of data to say this is or isn't it. Let's move on. So I think that fans just want to see the right guy chosen for a change. It's like a disease here at Auburn for some reason. That quarterback.
Yep.
They get this decision wrong more times than not here.
Yes.
And that's why we keep changing the coaches because somebody's like
somebody be able to pick a quarterback. Yeah.
But listen,
Right.
people get mad when we say this, but it starts with letting your head coach just coach and get out of his way, and then his decisions become his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to ride or die with what decision. But if you keep trying to like just resource him and let him make his decisions, that's all I'm saying.
Because you can't even evaluate the dude if you're dictating his decisions for him.
And I'm not saying somebody's like pulling the strings, but they're definitely nudging, right? Like they definitely are coming and being like, "Hey, so." I half of them messages that Coach Freeze is probably getting about new transfer quarterbacks and all that. That's probably
That's
somebody
probably from
with
the
some
that's
money
probably
being
from
like,
the
"Hey,
people
did
with
you
the
see this
check.
dude?"
I got a check for you.
No.
A little yellowwood.com. You seen this guy that just hit? What's wrong with him?
Yeah, I fear that the way they decided to handle this year set the tone for what they needed to do in 2024. And then you've got, when you decided to play for 2024, you really made a decision to play for 2025. The way they handled it. So what I'm saying is lean all the way into that and play for 2025, and hope Walker White is your dude.
Jesus.
Right?
No.
Bet it all on black, baby. Just hope Walker White is your dude.
The only reason that doesn't make sense to me, and this has really been my biggest thing, when people, of course, disliked how we talked about Bo Nix when he was playing and he wasn't playing well. And the point we were making then, and I'll make it for any quarterback now, which is I've been the same with Peyton Thorne, hey, he ain't getting it. Let's see what else we got. It don't have to be the same for every game. You don't have to make a permanent change right here in the third quarter because we're down. Let's see what else we got. Because the product that's on the field at this moment isn't acceptable for what you get paid, for what Auburn's resources are, and for what your reputation is as an offensive coach. You're missing the mark 3 times over. Let's see what else we got. And so since we've seen Thorne for an entire season, and he has not gotten better for an entire season. Putting Thorne back out there in 2024 says, I'm okay with mediocrity, guys. Y'all just hold on with me. Now, the investment in quarterback and in building a program and in recruiting, we see that effort from Hugh Freeze, and of course, we all appreciate that effort. That doesn't mean that you can mortgage the present to build the future. I don't believe that. I think that's embarrassing.
That's
because
how I felt about 2023.
This.
That's exactly how I felt about 2023.
I can manage 23. You didn't have a long time to get a quarterback. Like, all you had was spring. That's all you had. You had spring window, transfer portal, and you had to choose what was there. It was a short decision. You said, oh, okay, I think I can do something. Okay, you made the wrong decision, right? That doesn't mean you have to double. He's doubled down, like I said, 2 or 3 times now on Peyton Thorne. Time one was like, he wasn't really looking great, so I just gave him a little bit. That's not. You keep doubling down on your decision, because the best thing to do would be like, I brought you in here to start. You ain't really getting it yet. So I'm going to let one of these other guys start. If they outplaying you in this first scrimmage, then they coming out here with the ones the next time. And if you don't actually outplay them, you aren't going to play. Instead, Hugh Freeze, before the bowl game, was like, he didn't really outplay the other guys necessarily, and he didn't really play great this season, but he's going to get another shot. Auburn family, you didn't know what he was in fall camp, but you know what he is now, and I am telling you that you're going to get another dose of mediocrity. You don't have to do that.
The only reason I disagree with a large portion of this is I still say Coach Hugh Freeze has not really actively put his fingerprint on this offense at all.
Exactly,
and so he thinks that he can be the one to actually turn this around. Like, all right, listen, I was focusing on recruiting. You saw what I did in recruiting. Now watch what I go and do when I actually focus on the offense and see what I do with that. He's betting on himself to be able to fix it more than he's betting on Peyton Thorne can't screw that up. I think that that's a large portion of this as well.
Do we know for a fact that he wouldn't have to put just as much energy into recruiting next year, though?
We don't know it for a fact, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't said to himself, I need to figure out how to get this on-the-field product better.
This is a non-discussion. Look, you get paid almost $7 million a year. Figure out a way to do both. I have not heard any other high-level coach complaining about game planning versus recruiting.
Yeah.
It was completely ridiculous.
I mean,
I don't know that he was complaining about it more so than he focused on what he was focusing on.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I've never heard that dynamic brought up by any coach.
Those coaches are in a different situation, though.
I'm flabbergasted by that.
And yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Let's get to some more of these comments, guys, so we can get to the next topic here. Jazzy Joe, appreciate the super chat. He says we haven't had an open competition at QB in a month of Sundays.
Yes, ever.
Ever. I like that. Tiffany Byers, appreciate the super chat, says Baby Goat demonstrating going through his progressions and making accurate throws means if he doesn't have a fair shot at QB1, we riot. The receivers clearly responded to him.
Tiffany says, start the revolution. Yep. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
And you know what? That was one thing that we said. Coach Hugh Freeze was really big about culture in the locker room, right? Okay. Does that mean that you say, hey, you're my guy, even if you don't play the best? Because then you're going to lose some players who's like, hey, man, he's not giving me the ball. Like, I'm open. I'm running my routes. I'm getting my cardio in. Quarterback can't give me the ball, or he's not giving it to me on time, or he's not giving it to me in the right location. That's how you lose a locker room, by playing a guy who's not the best guy, which is why it boggles my mind that you would risk playing a guy who's not playing well instead of going with a different player. Like, I think you risk more than, well, this is an investment for 2-3 years. It's like, yeah, but.
Yeah. This is why Hank Brown was such a disaster for him. Because it brought into question whether, because what fans would say in response to you is, how do you know the next guy's better? Maybe he's the best we have. Mm-hmm. What I've been told directly is, so you think the coach is intentionally playing the worst player? Mike G, I'm like, are you insinuating that no coach has ever gotten this decision wrong?
Right.
Like, I know, no, I think he thought that. He thought that this was the correct course of action. Listen, I ain't eat your lunch for that. But if you're
Right.
wrong, pivot quickly and say, hey, you know what? We got
Right.
this wrong. Time to go another direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. B Will's forehead says, "What do y'all think about Rivaldo's comments about culture? Seems like there's stuff going on behind closed doors that's not good for the locker room."
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, in the post game, they referred to what was called the disease of me. And, guys kind of in it for themselves and this and that. I think that the way this season was handled, particularly offensively, the leadership played a hand in creating the disease of me. Right? I think guys don't have an issue waiting their turn when it's clear that the guy in front of them is better.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So when you get that part wrong, it creates a dynamic in your locker room where guys they want to help the team, but they feel like they're the ones who can get out there and help the team. And they don't want to crap on their teammates, but let's be clear, all these guys have egos. They want to play. So like I said, I know he's big on culture. This is part of what I would like his self-evaluation to include. How did we handle the culture this year? What dynamics did we create? And what can we do better to move that team culture in a better direction?
So Nina says, as bad as I hate to say this, it actually hurts to say this, but we didn't really improve after getting rid of Mr. Potato Head and paying him millions.
Not on the field.
Yeah. Look,
on the field.
Look,
Not
so
on the
that
field.
so we're clear. This year one was Brian Harson's year one, and I would argue Brian Harsin, like if you guys remember, at 6-2, he was like candidate for SEC Coach of the Year.
Brian
right?
Harsin had a better start,
Right? Yeah, much better start,
but he had a worse end.
ending. Well, I don't know, man. New Mexico State.
4-game losing streak. He lost a whole month. In November.
Yeah, I get it. New Mexico State kind of counts for like 2.5 losses.
Hugh Freeze has the uglier loss. He has the uglier loss for
Yeah.
They're equivalent seasons. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Those seasons are equivalent to me.
Yeah, it's the same. So, but he has recruiting to look at and say, but wait till I get my guys in. And Harsin did not have that.
Right.
That is a large part of what sunk him here. If he had a top 5 recruiting class to point at and say, nope, but like you're gonna let me recruit top 5 guys here and get rid of me, you're gonna lose a top 5 class.
Right.
That would have been his saving grace. And Hugh Freeze said, I'm not going to make that mistake because in some ways, I think he felt like there was no way to avoid what happened this season. So he put all his effort into recruiting to make sure that could not be held over his head going into year 2. And it may even save him in year 3 if he can turn in another top 5 class and they can say, look, just wait till we get a quarterback. We're one quarterback away from being really good. So listen, I don't listen in terms of self-survival and self-preservation. It's not a bad plan. The SEC is tough. You never know how the ball is going to bounce. So yeah, might as well just bring in the recruits.
Here's what I say, because yes, I think that makes sense. That makes sense what you're saying, Mike. He has to figure that QB situation out this year to avoid being Florida in the year 2.
Correct. This I think a lot hinges on. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but if you don't have a guy step up and clearly take a hold of this job in the spring, if they're going through a quarterback battle going into the fall, man, you better be praying that Walker White is the next coming of at least Jared Stidham. Right? Be him. And that will guarantee Hugh Freeze 3 years beyond 2025.
P-Pass says Hank Brown equals Auburn Tebow, wears 15 for a reason.
He can throw better than that.
Yeah, he throw better than that.
Where are we going with that one?
I guess I don't know if Hank Brown's big on his faith.
I know. He has a B card.
I don't know. But Stuart Donald says, so recruiting question, does Petit transferring out open the door for Auburn to now sign a running back? Say Daniel Hill, who just tweeted he will announcing his choice Saturday. I don't know if Auburn's going after a running back.
He's trending towards Alabama last I checked. So
I don't think
so.
that those two things
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think they're
think
tied
that they
together.
felt the need to go after a running back this cycle because they feel like they have a 25 guy that is going to be really good that's already in the boat. If Jarquez is returning and you have Damari Austin returning and you still have Cobb and you still have Sean Jackson, I think they feel okay with their running back room.
And we start seeing less of Petit as the year went on anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't
which
know
is why
if
he's in the
anybody
portal.
else is
Petit
gonna wanna
wants to
come
be a
in and
running
bury him.
back. So
why
the
he's in the
writing was on
portal.
the wall.
Yep.
All right. Basketball, folks. What season? What season is it? Be Will.
Basketball season. That's what season it is.
Okay. Auburn
And
played
recruiting season.
in
Still.
recruiting season. Yes, absolutely. Auburn beat Penn, the Quakers, 88-68 last night as they prepare to enter into SEC play. They got a doozy of a first game on the road against Arkansas.
Doozy.
Ike, how you feeling about Auburn basketball as they wrapped up their for the most part, they're out of conference? How you feel about where Auburn basketball stands? What have you learned from this team? What are some takeaways you have from this team exiting out of conference play, going into conference play?
I think it's a good team. I think that they are a fun team to watch when they're playing well. And I love the fact that in this game, we started to see more of what I expected to see out of Denver Jones as far as his ability on the offensive end. The only issue I have with this team is just the inconsistency sometimes that you see on offense of shot selection and carelessness with the basketball. If they can just be consistently good, take good shots, whether you're making them, like they went crazy from three against Penn in the first half. Like that was, I was like, what team is this? This is not real. Like this is a video game. We're on a whole different planet right now. This is not real Auburn basketball. If they shoot like they did in the first half versus Penn, I don't know how you beat this team. Like honestly, there's literally no weakness in this team if they're going to shoot like that, which they haven't done consistently. But it was the shot selection where it's like they shot it like that, and then they came in the second half and they fell in love with the three still. So I think a lot of teams are going to force Auburn to try to shoot the ball from the outside consistently and make those shots. So Auburn needs to be a little bit more patient with their ball movement to try to get the best shots available. And then just stop being careless at certain points in time with the basketball, and they'll be okay. Looking forward to seeing Arkansas is going to be a good road test because the only true road game that Auburn has had this season was at App State, and they lost. So first test, SEC on the road, very hostile environment where last time you went there with the number one ranking, you came out of there with an L. Going to be very interesting to see. They're getting one of their more highly touted players back and available. So that's going to be a good guard matchup in that game. I think Auburn's going to take it personally, but I like the makeup of this team. This feels like a tournament team.
Is there concerns? I actually see a post by Sonina about Aiden Holloway. I was heading that direction. Aiden Holloway seems to have been cooling off in recent games overall. Thoughts about him going into SEC play?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. You know, people forget this is still a true freshman. Hugh Freeze is very happy to have the tandem that he has. Aiden Holloway is a shot maker, and as a shot maker, you're going to go through streaks shooting, and you're going to have some guy. He's splitting a significant amount of time with Trey Donaldson right now. But Bruce Pearl is still very confident in his ability to be able to shoot the ball. He said it. He trusts these guys. He said it in the post game yesterday. He trusts those guys offensively. Defensively, everybody needs to step up, but offensively, Auburn's got one of the best point guard tandems in the country. So he'll have his moments. Trey got hot. He hit a couple threes, yesterday, and Auburn hit 10 threes in the first half of that game. Hell, Janai popped a couple. One contested. So, they're trying to stretch the floor. They started to look like 2019 Auburn there for a second, the way they were pulling up threes and knocking them down.
They can definitely shoot.
Yeah, and so they've solved that issue. I think I'm with. I think the Arkansas game is personal. I think these guys that were here last year are going to take that game very, very personally.
Year before last.
The year before last, yes. I think that Bruce he wants to win that game really bad. It's going to be interesting to see which Auburn team shows up. They've been taking care of the ball. They extremely low rate of turnovers over the last few games.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can shoot it, I think they finished the game around 53% shooting from the field.
Not sure, but I could check it.
Yeah, if they're north of 50% shooting going into SEC play, man, I don't know how this team loses unless the defense is just complete trash. But they've got KD brings so much on defense. He had a chase down block.
Yeah, that was a garbage call.
They called a foul on it. It was a clean block.
Auburn shot 49% last night.
Just short of 50. I mean, they were, and I'd love to see the percentage if you factor out the missed threes in the second half, just from two. If you just look at what their percentage from two was, they were.
See if I can do that.
Yeah, they were pretty incredible shooting. It was good shot selection. Janai looked good down low. He had like a turnaround fadeaway jumper, mid-range jumper during the game. I see a variety of shot making abilities out there. It's pretty remarkable to watch. This is a great balance that Bruce Pearl has with this team. So if they can continue that, and it's not all riding on Aiden, and I think that's what I'm encouraged by. All the shot making is not riding on this freshman that you brought in, which is what it kind of felt like sometimes when Jabari was here. All the shot making was kind of riding on him. So we have a good game. It was tough for Auburn. This actually feels like a better Jabari, obviously super talented, but this feels like a better team dynamic, I think, in terms of load distribution.
You don't have to look to one player.
Yeah.
To get you out of a get you a dub. How important, gentlemen, is Jalen Williams in conference play? How important is he going to be? We've seen he's played very well overall up to this point.
His 3-point shooting has been impressive. And again, just looks confident. He talked about this last year about just going out there. He's got the green light. Bruce has given him the green light. He's just got to be confident and take the shot. You're going to miss some. You're going to make some. But he runs the floor well. He plays good defense. He'll catch an alley. He likes the back door a lot. I don't
pause.
I like his game. I like his game, and it is one of those things that you forget. Like nobody. I felt like he wasn't being talked about enough coming into this season with all the new guys they had coming in. And now he's going to show up and he's going to give you a really, really good dynamic for next year. Auburn is in a good spot. Like Bruce Pearl said in the preseason, I'll keep saying, he said this would be his greatest balance of minutes of any team he's ever coached.
Yeah. And
it seems to be panning out. So it'll pay dividends come tournament time or when there's an injury.
Yeah. Jalen is now playing to the potential I think we all thought he had in years past, because he's been this physical presence. He could rise up and finish at the rim with the best of them. He should be able to rebound competitively with the best of people. I mean, he's 6'8" or 9 or whatever he is. We saw the physical ability, but what we didn't see was the mental edge. Like, you can do this whenever you want, right? And even though we were like the fans, I'm watching the timeline when the games are going on, it's like, Jay, like, just finished. Like, playing timid, it seemed like what he did. That's the page that got turned for Jalen. Also, low-key, that page kind of got turned for Cardwell as well. It's not that he ever had a problem doing what he could do. Like, we knew he's there to rebound, defend, and catch alleys. Like, set screens. Like, you are here to be a integral part of the machine, but you're not going to be the star of the show. But he's doing those things better. He's catching and finishing better. He's quicker when he catches the ball than he was before. Like, I would just be gritting my teeth years past and Cardwell catch the ball on a pass down low and he's take it down and start double pumping. I was like, hey, man, you are like 7 feet tall. Rise and finish, please, right now. He's doing it more quickly. Chad Baker-Mazara, he hasn't been here before. We haven't seen his improvement, but a similar dynamic. These are experienced players. These are players who have been playing in college for 3 and 4 years that seem to have, they seem to be in a rhythm. And the same thing with Janai. everybody seems to be in a rhythm. And we talked about this going backwards. The 2019 team, what was so great about them, they had been through these wars together with each other. They had the round of 32 out. They were third and fourth year players. We finally have that mix. Of course, Jabari was ultra talented. Walker Kessler, ultra talented. We didn't have the experience on that team that we have right now. We had an awesome true freshman, an awesome center. I don't know if Walker was a second or third year player or whatever he was. Those were our best players. Now we have, well, of course, Bruce is going to tell you, we've got 10 guys who could start, but man, we have some very, very experienced players. KD in 2021 compared to now, I'll take now KD every day because he's equally as tenacious, as energetic, but he learned how to tuck it in a little bit. Like he learned, like, all right, not right now, not right now. Now he still gets a little greedy. He still gets a little greedy. He wants that big shot. He wants that big finish to go through contact, or that little snarl at the refs is like, hey, calm down, KD. Please calm down. We don't want to get no text. But he's learned how to play within himself because over the last 2 years, he had this staff telling him, here is what you should do, and here is how you contribute. And he's finally learned how to do it. The experience, top to bottom, is phenomenal. Aiden will be fine. I'm with y'all. Aiden's going to be fine because he has a lot of pieces around him. We can keep the game in control, and he can just hit a timely shot or two. It's like he doesn't have to be everything to us like Jabari had to be offensively. He can just find his role.
Like Wendell.
Right. And Wendell wasn't even equipped to be everything offensively, which is why it was hard to get some good offense going when Wendell was doing so much for us. But now we've got it spread out everywhere as far as who can get a shot, who can run the offense that's going to be best for us to run. We're stacked. We're stacked.
One more question here. Denver Jones.
I got a lot of questions tonight.
I know. Denver Jones. Ike, I know he a bucket getter. Excited about him coming on board. He's been kind of he's been kind of, you know, not really. I don't know how to say it. Assertive at times.
He looked good coming off them high screens yesterday.
He's been playing within the offense, not really forcing things. Do you expect him to be in those moments where we need someone to make something happen? Do you think Denver has found his place in his team, or is he still figuring that out?
I think he's still figuring it out, but the game against Penn was the first signs of life for real. Like he had found a little bit more of his shooting in previous games, but this was the first time I really saw him, not just be a catch and shoot guy, but be a guy who's going to get the ball, be able to aggressively attack, get to his mid-range, get all the way to the rim. He did all of the things that you expect a scorer to be able to do, and he looked like an actual scorer in that game. So I'm looking to see more of him do that sort of thing because he is a great shooter. And if they're going to run him off of the three, he needs to be able to show I can score in other ways to make him feel like, hey, listen, I don't really have a remedy for this guy. And if he can be that guy, again, this team just gets more dangerous if you get what B. Will's talking about, the aggressive nature of Jay Will, where he's willing to just step up and take shots that are there for him. Man, he tried to put somebody in the body bag yesterday. They ran the high screen for him, and he went left. He tried to put him in the body bag. I was like, man, I love when Jay Will is that dude right there because that shows me I'm out here having fun hooping, bro. Like, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going aggressively. Listen, you've got all the pieces. If the pieces are all playing well at the same time, invincible squad. Yeah. But you've got enough pieces where you should be able to eke out wins against anybody because you got 4 or 5 different guys that you can go to. If you need to go to the post, you got a post guy. If you need to get it from the exterior and shoot threes, you got a couple of guys who can shoot threes. You got guys who can hit the mid-range. Love Chad Baker-Mazar's mid. I love what I saw from Denver in the mid. So you've got enough guys to do enough stuff, and you can still go lock some people up on defense. It's a good team. It's a very well-constructed basketball team.
Got a squad, man.
Raven Patel says, anyone else notice how relaxed Jalen looks when he's playing the game?
I'm telling you, like
not lazy, but he's letting the game come to him. Great.
Yeah, he looks very comfortable this year.
Like, that's a great way to say let the game come to him. I like that.
Yeah. And I think that's when he's his best. When he's just out there hooping and he's not trying he ain't trying to do this. He's not trying to do that. He's like, oh, this is a shot within the flow of the game. Let me take it. step up, knock it down. All right, cool. We're going to run this flex action. I'm going to get into the post. I got a little man on me. Let me just go ahead and lay him with the left. Like, it's cool, bro. Like, when his game looks effortless, that's when Jalen, because he could do everything, bro. Like, he literally has the only thing he doesn't really have in his bag is, like, a real, like, handle off the dribble, just break a dude down, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
everything else, mid-range, from distance, in the paint, he's got all of the other tools that are necessary to be able to score against any kind of defense. So, he's going to be missed when he's up out of here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, Nigel Brooks says, Ike, what do you think about Chaney Johnson's play so far? There were Malik Dunbar comparisons before the season. Haven't seen that yet.
Not Malik Dunbar. I get the comparisons, though, because he has all the Malik Dunbar tools as far as the insane athleticism, the ability to step out and shoot the three, and the ability on defense to really lock down. He's just got to get his feet under him a little bit more. And he's, too, started to look more comfortable. He's looked more like when he's in the lane, the little turnarounds, followaways that he's taken look more like the Chaney Johnson I saw when I looked at his film from his JUCO, not JUCO, but was it UNA where he played at North Alabama, or UAH, excuse me, from when I watched that film, and then stepping out and shooting the three with confidence. Hasn't hit a lot of them, but I like the confidence he's shooting with. But definitely not Malik Dunbar yet. Malik Dunbar was athletically just kind of like he was more put together as far as his handle. Dunbar had better guard skills, and Chaney Johnson, in my opinion, like they had him tabbed as a guard, but I kept telling everybody I don't see guard on tape. I see forward. Like he was playing more in the post, and that's more, I think, a natural place for him to get his stuff, even though he can step out and shoot.
Auburn will face off against Arkansas this Saturday at 1 p.m. You can check that game on ESPN2. Ike, are you doing anything around that game, pregame?
Yeah, we're going to have to get in there and talk about that one for sure.
Okay, so stay tuned, y'all. Ike will be going live to discuss that matchup. You definitely don't want to miss that. Anything else, guys, before we get out of here?
Yes. Can we give a quick shout out to Auburn women's basketball? They open SEC play tomorrow at Neville Arena. Guys,
Tennessee.
I'm telling you, this is going to be – I think this is a tournament team. I think they have Ike and I have talked about this ad nauseum. I think they have a chance to go at least 500 in the SEC this year. Auburn, I get it. Auburn makes you earn it. But if you are going to give your support to not one of the big two, give it to Auburn women's basketball. Coach Johnny Harris has done a phenomenal job with this team, developing them, making them a real team, finding playmakers, and just overall cultivating what I think is an excellent team dynamic. They have a chance to be dangerous. This year, they have LSU at home. They've got number 1 South Carolina at home, and they deserve every little bit of your support if you can show up to Neville and give the opposing teams the same energy that the men's basketball gets when opposing teams step into that arena. The women deserve it too. I'm telling you, they're playing their asses off right now.
Yeah. I like what I'm seeing from the women's team. Defensively, they're locking teams up. Mm-hmm. They're taking care of the basketball, and they're actually starting to show some semblance of some signs of life on offense in the half court. They can be a dangerous team if they can put it all together. They're not there yet, but I like a lot of the elements that they've sprinkled in. Coach Johnny Harris has steadily every year, I think, improved the talent of that team, and it's showing in the results on the court. So definitely a team to look out for.
Yeah, like she's funny. Quick, if you haven't watched all her women's basketball game, she is never happy, no matter what's going on, until the end of the game. Somebody hit a three, and she'll be on the sideline. It should have given us 4 points for that. Like, how come you didn't get a 4-point play? Like, I was joking with her after the game. I was like, Coach, you seem to never be happy about anything. Do you care to comment on that? I'll tell you, she says if I'm not complacent, my team won't get complacent. And I think that's effective leadership. So I love that.
Indeed. Well, listen, Ike, tell the people how to get a green name so they can look at your film review after Mike jinxed us, and now we're going to get the QB, Caden Salter, coming in to be our next QB at Auburn. Future film reviews on deck. How to get a green name, sir?
definitely can hit that join button and you get a chance to get all of the insider and supporter content that's available for y'all. We appreciate everybody who continues to do this. That patron level is what gets you the access whenever you need it. You can watch the live stream of it if you're a supporter, but on demand, you got to be a patron. You can gift a membership and somebody can get a free month of membership on you. We appreciate everybody who continues to support us in that way. And then you can listen to us in audio format wherever you listen to podcasts. Podcast network here with the Auburn Express, Upper Tempo Podcast, College Loop, and Just a Sec Pods.
And be sure to share this content, guys. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, or X, at The War Rapport, TW Report on TikTok. Zipper now, guys. We will definitely catch you on Friday. Still doing a Friday morning drop. We'll be doing that. Stay tuned for other content. We will see you this weekend, especially as we cover Auburn, Arkansas. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.